Hi, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Of course, we're always asked about how foreigners get on in the Philippines, how they're viewed by the Filipinos. And somebody quoted a book to me today about an author called, I think his name was William. I think it was William Lederer, but I know that the name was Lederer. And he wrote a very famous, classic, iconic book called The Ugly American. And The Ugly American wasn't about every American, and it wasn't about how they all behave when they're in a different country. What it really was the whole image of the American in his approach to how he helps other countries. And let's face it, nobody is more generous than the Americans at giving aid. They give a tremendous amount of aid. Let's not go into whether there is political agenda there. They give a lot of aid. Now, one of the things that sticks out the most about Americans when they're abroad is, for the Americans that I've met, is they tend to think of themselves as, and let's not just say Americans, let's say foreigners. Foreigners come over here and they find the infrastructure is lacking. And the biggest temptation is to continually compare it to back home, how it is in their country. And that is probably the worst thing that you can do, because it's just not as advanced here. It's not the same. So how should you view it? How should you behave according? Well, one of the first things to do is to stop this automatic act of considering that you, as a foreigner, are at point zero. What I call point zero. Whether that's the correct way to view it, I don't know. The point zero is where you start to say everything is compared to how I think it should be done. And really, that's not going to get you anywhere, because you're in another country. I actually spoke to an American just a few days ago. In this case, an American, okay. Right, so we're talking, and he's looking for a wife. He's looking for initially a girlfriend. He's looking for a wife, and he's talking to me as if everything Filipino is inferior. And I said to him, you know that you're in a foreign country, don't you? And he said, yes, I'm well aware that I'm in a foreign country. And then he went on to complain about the driving and about how they do this and how they do that, and all counterproductive talk if you are intending to be part of a particular culture. If you don't start to see the good in where you live, then from my viewpoint, I wonder why you're here. And thinking of yourself as point zero is one of the first things that has to go, because none of us are point zero. We're all in a state of trying to learn from everybody else, and we are very much connected to each other, and we need to be able to see that. And if you don't see that, then you're really missing out on a lot. Now, when I was in America, I noticed that people did complain about any immigrant, any foreigner who didn't speak their language. We touched on this already in another video about the importance of speaking the language. But it's not just the importance of speaking the language, it's the importance of what speaking the language brings you. And what it actually brings you is inclusion into the culture. If you are able to understand everything that is going on around you, you will feel included. Now, if you've ever been into a company where everybody is talking perhaps in technical terms. I mean, supposing you're not into computers and you're actually in the company of a load of computer techs, and they're all talking about gigabytes and motherboards and all of this kind of thing, and you have no idea what they're talking about. Can you ever feel included in that group? Would you ever wish to join that group? Would you ever wish to kill that chicken? Would you continue to join that group for any kind of pleasure moment? Well, I don't think you would. Now, I know that I have to learn the language. In itself is my passage into being included by another 50 or 60 or 70% into the family that is my now extended family. Beth's family. Brothers-in-law, sisters-in-law, my mother-in-law. All of these people and their friends and neighbours all speak in their own language. And sometimes I've heard English-speaking people saying, well, that's very rude. If they know that you don't speak their language, they should be, and they can speak English, they should be speaking English. No, that's not true. You're in their country, and you should make the effort to speak their language if you want to be included. If you don't, then fine. You can sit there and learn nothing and enjoy 50% less of the company, because you'll just have to sit there and wait for someone to speak to you, won't you? That's what would happen. So, you're not 0.0, you are some point along the way in comparison to that which is around you, because all information that comes in is contextual. Now, it's contextual because it has at every given moment a particular context that it has to be viewed in, and you can't even understand the language. You're never going to get the context of what's being said. Is it a joke? Is it serious? Is it about you? Is it about them? Is it about her? Is it about him? What is it about? All that you'll be able to do is just sit there like a wally and misunderstand, misinterpret what is being said. Are you talking about me? You say to your wife. Is that joke on me? That's what will happen. So, I'm trying. I'm an old fart, so it's a slow process of trying to learn the language, but I am trying, and then I'm going to use that language to try to understand the culture, try to understand why things are done in a certain way, why it is that they don't rise to every occasion if things don't quite go right. Beth and I went to a hotel restaurant in Taliban yesterday, and it's the hotel. The hotel was, what was it? The Watergate Hotel.
Yeah, Watergate.
Yeah. So the hotel is the Watergate Hotel, and below it is a restaurant. And we went into the restaurant. Now, we must have timed it just at lunch break because the place was full. Every table that wasn't occupied was dirty with plates that had been used by the last occupants. And it seemed like there was only one waiter. Now, with a Western viewpoint, you go in there and then you start waiting. And then you start tapping your fingers on the table, and then, if you're like me, you clean your own table and put it on some other table, right? So now, am I going to enjoy my meal? No. Is Beth? All of it has sailed right over her head. She didn't take umbrage at anything that was there. She just said, well, they're busy, it's lunch. And she didn't feel any upset. She wasn't upset about any of it. She enjoyed her meal. We took away what we couldn't eat, And actually, in the final analysis, the food was actually good. Never mind that I didn't get my meal until about 20 minutes after she got hers. No, never mind that. She didn't mind it. She just didn't eat hers for 15 minutes. And then when she thought that my meal would be arriving any moment, she started to pick at her meal. But she wasn't annoyed about anything. Whereas a Westerner would say, well, you better damn well call the waiter over and say, what's happening to our meal? And that now you've got no chance of enjoying your meal. It'll be, as the Jews say, it'll be like ashes in your mouth. I didn't really get the lesson. But now that I think about it, I really did understand why Filipinos are that much happier than Westerners. When I see Westerners walking around, sorry if I'm being politically incorrect, they don't look like a happy bunch of troopers. And yet, when if you looked at the last video where we took the girls, those little girls out, and we bought them all a dress, courtesy of our friend Kurt, a subscriber to our channel. He sent $50, and we took them out, and we bought them slippers, and we bought them a dress, and they had a wonderful time. And then when we took all those dresses and all those kids, and we took them to the cashier's desk, you'll see on that cashier desk, you'll see the difference that the two people that helped us seemed actually happy. So that was part of my lesson as well as the restaurant. So I realigned myself. I'm no longer 0.0, and I'm already feeling a bit happier. Okay, now if you liked what we've seen, then like, comment, subscribe, hand it on, do whatever you like. Hope you have a great time. Hope you have a great day. Look in on us again. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.